So let's now take a few moments and look at the object type in JavaScript, which is something we're going to use all the time. It's incredibly powerful and useful, and we really want to make sure we're sort of fully up to speed on how to use them. I can declare objects in JavaScript by using the object constructor like that, or I can actually just use the sort of literal notation and use a couple of squiggly brackets like that. I doubt you'll ever see me using this to declare objects. I use the literal notation for absolutely everything now, and I suspect you will get used to it too. I can declare the contents of an object or define the contents of an object right away by using this literal notation. So I can say var user equals first name Mark, last name like that, and I've declared the object that way, and I can print it out, and you'll see it shows me the values. I can also add properties to it. So if I also want to say my birth date equals something, I can say birth date equals, haha, no way, I'm not that stupid. So now if I print out the user object, you'll see that I have the new thing that way. I can query the value of a property on an object by just typing that. And as I showed in the one of the previous sub-lessons, if I ask for something that doesn't exist, I'll just get undefined. So I want to take a very brief segue now and talk a little bit about JSON. It's very, very similar to this object literal notation that we've been seeing here. JSON is something we're going to be using all throughout these live lessons, and for all of our web applications and sort of server applications, it's something we'll use a lot. In fact, now pretty much any web server, any network server I write, the data interchange format is all with JSON now. I use it for, even with sometimes within apps for mobile phones or Windows or Mac. I use JSON everywhere because it's just such a fantastically flexible and easy to use format. So let's talk about it very quickly just to make sure that we know the difference between it and this literal notation. The only real thing with JSON is that you have to quote the property names in addition to the values. So it's very similar to the literal notation, but it's the only difference would be like that. And that's the same object expressed as JSON. I could also say age 300 or 2000 because I'm really quite old. And I can do that, and then the node interpreter just converts that into an object internally. But that's basically JSON. Theoretically, JSON is supposed to be double-quoted strings for the property names and everything. I think a lot of language engines will allow you to use single-quoted strings, but just to be safe, use double-quoted strings when you're working with JSON, and you'll definitely be safe. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about objects. We've added some properties. We added here the birth date, and we asked for some things that didn't exist. Let's say, you know what, I actually don't want the birth date. That's none of my business. I just don't care. So what I can say there is I can use the delete keyword in JavaScript and type that. And now if I ask for user, you'll see we're back to first name and last name. I think that's kind of our core basics on objects. There is one interesting thing, and that is if I want to sort of use it as an associative array or sort of a dictionary like I see in other programming languages, the object is really quite suitable to that. I can literally just say user dot. I can actually use array notation if I want. I can actually say user dot, fruit equals banana. And I can actually, see the new property added there. So I can, or I can even say var var field equals animal, and then I can say user field equals cat. And again, it's a very powerful and flexible type. I can use them like associative arrays and maps, like I do see in other languages. The one downside is there is no length property. It doesn't work like that. So if I wanted to see the size of an associated array, I would have to use a non-standard language extension that I think most browsers do support, but definitely, again, for our purposes, Chrome's V8 does support. And that is, I can say object.keys on user, that returns an array, and I can get the length of that. And then I'll see that this hash or map or associative array does have 4 things in it. So that's objects, very quick introduction to them. We'll take a pause, and then we'll come back and look at arrays, which are also very exciting.